So now at this time, I'd like to welcome Dr. Han Park to our podium, speaking about a new paradigm for world peace.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. In a few minutes, for a few minutes, I'll reflect on peace and how we do about it. If we didn't do anything about peace, we're all doomed. So I want to have that great warning to begin with. I developed deep interest in peace the moment I was born. I was born during the Chinese Civil War, Mao Zedong, the communist forces, and Chiang Kai-shek, the other nationalist government. They fought in the absence of sophisticated weapons, not enough guns and bullets. They killed each other with sickles and very primitive instruments. And everywhere I saw, as a baby and young boy, I saw people's bodies and bloodshed and all over. And then after that, I came back to South Korea, where I was not really born, but raised much of my boyhood. South Korea, immediately when I arrived in South Korea, there was even worse and bigger, more destructive, more deadly war in the form of the Korean War in 1950 for 3 years. In that war, unlike Chinese Civil War, we used airplanes, aircrafts to drop bombs. So bombs were all over. North Koreans were, of course, devastated. Millions of North Koreans and South Koreans died, as well as close to, if not more, 50,000 American soldiers perished during the Korean War. Barely I got alive, and I decided to do something about peacemaking. If people do not fight, they're not going to kill. Why do they fight? That was the question. And I looked around the world and decided that I must come to the United States to study peace, to study war. You know, I had a very nice Christian missionary, school teacher, American. I got to know him. And there was, what is Christianity? I'm a Christian, by the way. I asked, what is Christianity? The answer he gave me was a religion with a lot of good messages. What's the best message you can give me? You can cite. And he said, love your enemy. So I thought that really hit me very strongly. If we love our enemies, we're not going to fight. What makes Americans love, or Christians love their enemies? I was so curious about that. I came to the United States. The condition on the ground is not consistent with love your enemy. Demonize your enemy. That was more or less the reality I have been finding myself. So demonize your enemy. In the Bible, devils, evils should not be tolerated to carry on their lives. Evils should be perished, destroyed, and should be killed. So that's exactly what we have done, we American government has been doing. In recent wars, for decades, for centuries, there is no war America was not involved and responsible for mass killing, including today. So if you love your enemies, that's the answer. And recently, President Trump and Kim Jong-un of North Korea got together. I don't know if they are developing loving mind, but they may have some other domestic austere motivations. But I like to believe that they know the importance of communication, loving together. So here, if we don't deal with the security question, we're doomed. We're all arrested and we're all infected by the disease called the national security. I think it's a wrong concept to worship national security, because security is possible only when you are superior to others. You have more of everything, more guns, more money, more clout, political clout, everything more. So if you are standing in a position of domination, you feel secure. If you are inferior, you don't feel secure. In today, actually, people living in rich, powerful countries like the United States, people living in poor countries and less powerful countries like North Korea, they all feel, Americans and North Koreans feel uncomfortable and their lives are threatened. We have to do something about this security. Security is based on mutual fear. Security is based on mutual distrust. The siege mentality guides security paradigm. If the culture is arrested by the siege mentality, a mentality where we feel we're surrounded by enemies, our lives are insecure, threatened. If we feel constantly that way, the enemy can be nearby, the enemy can be across the Pacific Ocean. We feel that way, then we're not going to find peace. Peace is not the absence of security. Peace is not the absence of war or conflict. Peace is something else. We have to define peace in terms of what it is rather than what it is not. Yes, it is not security. Peace and security are different species altogether. What is peace? Very simply, peace is harmony. Peace is harmonious coexistence. Harmony. My daughter plays piano. They're all musicians in my family. I see great harmony in orchestra playing. You go to concert and orchestra music, you sit down in the middle of the concert hall, and then you'll see beautiful harmony coming out. Harmony is created with diversity. Without diversity, harmony is not even conceptually possible. So that as long as peace is defined in terms of harmony, we must have diversity in the society. Diversity in values, diversity in race, religion, belief systems, norms, ways of life. These diversities, rich and poor, that's not diversity. Qualitative differences constitute diversity. So here we have to value diversity. Diversity is good. Diversity can be used for the creation of one harmony, one big harmony. America is blessed with diversity. You know, the greatness of America, I decided to live America for good. Not because America is a great, first weaponry, first money-wise, first political, even democracy. The greatness of America lies in the people who are diverse in their beliefs, norms, and values, religions, ethnicities, race. That's American value, greatness of America. Travel around the world as much as I do. You will see there's not a single other country that is diverse in terms of these important criteria as is America. So we have to value that. We have to even strengthen the diversity. What we are seeing today in southern borders, it's pathetically un-American. So diversity should be valued, and having more religions, more races, more ethnicities, that is great feature of America. We should promote that if we're going to have a future. The future of America will be the future of the world. If America fails, the world will fail. Now, here, such a peace, harmony, how can we create? When orchestra members, they rehearse, what do? They listen to each other. They communicate with each other in rehearsal and practice. So you have to listen to others. As a result, you have to understand each other. So without understanding, communication cannot take place very effectively. So communication is the exchange of values, norms, and identities, rather than exchange of just factual information. That's not communication. Communication is to promote understanding by virtue of knowing each other's norms and values, beliefs, identities, ideas, philosophies, races, these things. So here, the purpose of education is to increase our ability to communicate, because communication produces peace. Communication produces community. Probably community and communication, their semantic origin may be the same. Without communication, community cannot be formed. So here, the purpose of education is to increase the ability, to grow the ability to communicate. Most importantly, yes, language, these things are important. Most important element of communication is empathy. Without the ability to put ourselves in other people's situation, without the inclination and willingness to feel other people's shoes with me, without that ability, that is without empathy, we cannot understand each other, we cannot create peace at all. So the purpose of education lies in empathy. We have to do that, not accumulation of information and science and technology, which is important, but we have to grow our ability to empathize. So here, education, we have wasted too much. I've been an educator in my life. But empathy should be brought into the education as the core value and purpose of education, and purpose of interaction, and purpose of enrichment in communal activities, so that children will be more capable to communicate. We adults will be more capable to understand one another, and thus we grow the culture of peace rather than security. Culture of peace rests on mutual trust, mutual understanding, acceptance of differences, and furthermore, not just accept differences, but respect differences. not be fearful of different religions and different ethnicities, race, but more respect and accept the good value of others for me. Yes, I'm important to others, but others are just as much, maybe more important for my own growth and development. That's the ultimate humility that we need to learn how to be humble and how to put ourselves in each other's shoes. Thus make our world better. Thank you.